Haven't decided yet how I'm gonna do this one, and so I'm trying to decide if I want to draw full body, portrait, arms. I don't know yet, but my brother took this picture. He went to Africa and he took this picture, and I asked him if I could use it to draw. I'll do the whole thing. Why not? Do the whole portrait. Okay. So a little bit about my process here. What you've been seeing me draw on is the Adobe Fresco app, and I'm using an iPad Pro and an Apple Pencil, and I'm sure you've probably guessed that. But one of the tools that I'm using is on the app, there's the live oil brushes, and so you've seen me just kind of blend around, and I have not been using layers. Actually, everything you see here is on the same layer, and I like to use that as mostly for my own kind of experience. I really enjoyed painting when I used to paint, and so doing it this way and drawing on one layer and just blending the entire time really allows me to have that painterly experience, even though this is a digital drawing, painting, somewhere in between. So that's why you're seeing it happen this way, where there's no layers really going on. I'm not really switching brushes. I'm able to use the live oil brushes to blend, so I don't need to use a smudge. It's a pretty streamlined process, and I like to keep it simple. Just because I don't have a background in using digital drawing apps or digital drawing, so the layers and all of the settings kind of confuse me, if I'm being honest. I just keep it really, really simple. So that's a little bit about my process. So, one of the very first things that caught my eye when my brother sent me this reference photo, he actually sent me a couple, and this one really caught my eye because of the texture and pattern on this little girl's dress. And I guess what it reminded me of is that when my brother came home from Africa, he brought home an entire suitcase, or at least half a suitcase, of just fabric, and he put them up on his wall like tapestries. And I just remember standing there thinking, like, oh, wow, you brought home a lot of fabric. And also really just appreciating all of the different patterns, and they're just beautiful. And so I guess like with that memory of me standing in front of the tapestries that he had brought back, and also seeing this little girl's dress and the way that the fabric is draped, it really just caught my eye, and I immediately wanted to try and draw her and this moment with her. I think that at first the maybe hesitancy to draw the entire picture was because I just really wanted to focus on her smile and some of the texture on her dress. I didn't know how capable I was of doing the entire thing. And I also wasn't sure at that point if I wanted to include the background with the tiles and things. Getting to this phase of the drawing where I'm done doing the color blocking and I have all the decisions made, and now I just get to focus on the little fine tuning details. That's like one of my favorite parts of doing a portrait, but it can also be one of the most, I don't know how to say it. I'm so grateful for a back arrow at this point because there's a lot of things that I kind of put down that I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. And so I go back and I just take it off and keep going. One of the things that I really wanted to get right was the vibrancy of her cheeks. And there were a couple colors I laid down that I thought, nope, that's not working, and had to start over. But this is definitely my favorite part, though, really putting in the highlights on the eyes and the eyelids, putting in the highlights above her eyebrows, and starting to work more on the hair and getting the coloring and the highlights and shadows on the hair. Like, it's amazing to feel like how quickly it starts to come together once you start putting in the fine details. And then every time you open it, after you close it, you come back to it and you're like, wow, I think this is headed in a good direction. And it's always a surprise and like an exciting thing every single time for me. So this is how it ended up turning out. I really love to do these closer looks at all of the fine details. One of my favorite things about this one is the pans and the pots in the background and her dress and her hair. And I really just love how this composition came together in the end. I'm excited to let you guys know that I am going to start offering prints of my drawings. They'll be available on my website, and if you follow me on Instagram, that'll be the first place to find them to figure out when they're available. But they'll be limited runs, so there won't be a lot of them, and once they're gone, they're gone. But I wanted to make it possible for you guys to have some of my art in your home. So thank you guys so much for being curious about what I'm up to and what I'm making. We'll see you guys next time.